Hello everyone, and this is my video for my instructional informative overview of the EEH403 inquiry project learning plan. So our inquiring question was, what strategies and learning experiences can I use as a PE teacher to celebrate cultural diversity and foster a culturally inclusive learning environment? To begin with, to investigate this sort of question, we began by defining what culture really is and the relationship to ethnicity and race. And this was interesting to learn about in terms of the association of culture and social justice education. And obviously we found some strategies to celebrate culture and cultural inclusivity to obviously address this question. In terms of the definitions of culture that we came across, it could essentially be summarized as values, symbols, interpretations, and perspectives that distinguish one people from another. And this really came into account when we were trying to create and celebrate cultural diversity and foster a culturally inclusive learning environment. When we came up with our assessment task of create a culture, we very much got our students to make their own culture and consider these aspects of what is a culture to help obviously address that inquiry question. Ethnicity, which is also similar to culture, is described as shared ancestry, history, heritage, and customs of a group, which was obviously another interesting aspect to learn about as well. In terms of celebrating cultural diversity in the physical education class, we often find that phys ed classes are dominated by westernized or Eurocentric curriculum, which often excludes different cultures and perspectives when we come into trying to celebrate culture in the PE classroom. To achieve celebrating cultural inclusivity and diversity in the PE classroom, it's important that as PE teachers, we make sure that we can foster a more inclusive cultural environment that is in a non-tokenistic manner. And essentially what this means is Indigenous people should actually play a central role in the delivery of a culturally inclusive learning environment, as opposed to myself as a PE teacher just trying to do it outright myself. That makes a non-tokenistic environment and actually helps to foster a culturally inclusive learning environment. So that was something interesting to learn about in terms of trying to achieve that inquiry question, was learning about teaching in a non-tokenistic manner and involving a culturally diverse perspective there as well. What else was also important to learn is that in order to promote cultural inclusion and celebrate diversity, it's really important for the teacher to become a student of their own students. And what I mean by this is understanding the context in which students live their lives in order to teach more effectively. If we're able to gain a further understanding of students and how they learn and where they come from, we're more likely to adapt our teaching to better suit them, which actually in turn helps to address our inquiry question of making a culturally inclusive learning environment and also celebrating diversity as well. If we wanted to further that also, we found that in physical education, students could investigate their own cultural identities through a range of different activities. And in our unit plan, we did a dance unit, and very much so students are actually aiming to do this, so to investigate their own cultural identities as well. This obviously enables students to adopt a strengths-based approach as well to learning in human movement contexts, because it's building positive family school partnerships whilst also building on their strengths and what they know and them as a student as well. So through implementing a dance unit essentially that focuses on creating your own culture and celebrating cultural diversity and inclusion, we're essentially able to hit that target question of what strategies and learning experiences can I use as a PE teacher to celebrate cultural diversity and foster a culturally inclusive learning environment. So the dance unit that we created is going to be very helpful in addressing that question. And obviously as a teacher in the future, if I'm ever asked on that question or how I can target it in my classroom as a PE teacher, I'll be able to refer to this inquiry project that was done here and use this information very valuably to help support evidence of myself being able to do that as well.